Good day. I'm Laurence Sanford, Senior Analyst with the American Security Council Foundation. Welcome to our Peace Through Strength podcast series, and today's subject is Veterans Day. Veterans Day on November 11th honors all service men and women who served either today or in the past, who lived or who died. I'm a former Navy officer and served aboard a U.S. destroyer in the Pacific Fleet and was homeported in Yokosuka, Japan and San Diego, California. My 3.5 years of the Navy were a great experience, and I traveled from all over Asia to Africa to Australia and Pacific Islands in between. It was a great experience. I had 2 deployments in the Gulf of Tonkin during the Vietnam War. Mostly in carrier task force operations in the Gulf of Tonkin. After the Navy, I served as a clandestine service officer in the CIA for 4 years, and included a 2-year tour of living in Hong Kong. After that, I worked for international businesses and have traveled to a total of 50 countries. So I would like to think I served my country to the best of my ability at the time. But I decided that I wanted to go into business, and I was into the business world after that. I'm a graduate of Boston College and received my MBA through the GI Bill. Since then, I've served in a number of organizations, including what I'm doing today, which is I'm on as senior advisor at the American Security Council Foundation, which has been in existence since 1958, and whose mission is to educate Americans on national security issues. And we've been around since 1958. But I'm also the president of the Association of Former Intelligence Officers in the Melbourne area. And I'm also a member of MOA, which is the Military Officers Association. And one of the things that its motto is to serve, never stop serving. And so on Veterans Day, we honor veterans who served in the past and served in the present. I would also want to encompass that if you took the oath to defend the Constitution, you were in the military. So regardless of whether you're in the Navy, Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marines, we all are a band of brothers and sisters who took the oath to defend the Constitution. And by defending the Constitution, we're defending the American democracy and Western civilization. And one of the common bonds of this oath is that we're a band of brothers and sisters, and there's a camaraderie that develops within the military that is just not duplicated in the civilian life. And so I still have friends 60 years later from my Navy experiences. And so it is an honor to serve, but I would also broaden Veterans Day to include the families, the spouses of servicemen, the children, the relatives, and society in general. If you are a citizen who is a good citizen, who votes, who takes care of their family, who maintains civil relationships with their fellow citizens, then I say you're also part of the band of brothers and deserve to be honored. Veterans Day was only named that in 1954. Before that, it was called Armistice Day and was decreed after World War I, the war to end all wars. But after World War II and the Korean War was going on, the Congress changed it from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. And it was originally on November 11th, then it switched to weekends, but then now it's back to the actual date of November 11th. And the significance of November 11th is that's the day that the armistice agreement was reached in World War I, where fighting stopped. It was on the 11th month, in the 11th hour, that the armistice was signed and went into effect. Veterans Day is more than just recounting all the battles and losses and tragedies that have occurred during the fighting. To me, Veterans Day also encompasses the fact that we took the oath together. We all took the oath. And the oath of defending the Constitution goes back to our founding. And our founding was in 1776, July 4th, when we declared independence, where we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And life, in the Declaration, means the right to exist with dignity and the responsibility of government to protect our safeties. Liberty is the right to live with freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to govern. And the pursuit of happiness has a different connotation today than it did back in 1776. In 1776, happiness was the right human flourishing while living in a virtuous or moral, meaningful life. It wasn't a question of accumulating material goods. It meant a virtuous life, meaningful, where you treated others as you would want to be treated yourself. So after the Declaration, of course, we had the Revolutionary War, and eventually we ended up with a Constitution that was signed in 1789. So from the Declaration in 1776, the Constitution was signed in 1789, and it was designed by our founding fathers, and we're very fortunate as a nation and as Americans that we had such brilliant founding fathers. And their purpose was designed to protect liberty by limiting government power. And they had the separation of powers. And so the separation of powers has the three branches of government: executive, the president; the legislature, which is Congress; and the judicial, which is the Supreme Court and other courts downward. And last but not least, they had the concept of federalism, where the states had certain rights and the federal government had rights. And in the beauty of the Constitution, it says that these are the rights of the federal government. Anything else not declared automatically belongs to the states. So the states have a series of rights to self-govern. And the beauty of that is that each state is sort of a laboratory of innovation. And so California can do its crazy things in the lands of the fruits and the nuts, and Florida can do its things with the sunshine and hurricanes. So we each have our own strengths as states. And we have the Electoral College, and that's something that's not talked about very often other than maybe to get rid of it. But the beauty of an Electoral College is, and there was a fierce debate during the signing of the Constitution, the smaller states were afraid that the big states, which in those days were New York and Virginia, would overwhelm the smaller states and drown out whatever concerns the smaller states have. So the Electoral College is rigged for the smaller states having more impact on national influence. And one of the jokes, I'm a New Englander, and we have 6 small states up in New England that would fit into Texas, and yet in Congress, these 6 small states have equal footing in the Electoral College, and more so because we have more representation because of the number of senators we have. 6 times 2 is 12 senators. Texas has 2. So in a sense, the Electoral College protects the smaller states. And part of the Constitution is the Bill of Rights, and we have the first 10 amendments. And the First Amendment, of course, is the most important: freedom of speech, freedom of religion. But this is all part of the oath that we take as veterans, and public officials for that matter, take an oath to defend the Constitution. And I think that's something that should be thought about more and more. And so my point to you all, and to something we all should live today: what can we do to do our part in leading a virtuous life in a virtuous society? First of all, be informed. Pay attention to what's going on and vote. And if you don't know what's going on, please don't vote. We do not need any votes that are not informed. Don't hesitate to contact elected representatives. We here at American Security Council are in contact with various branches of the government and legislatures trying to educate them on issues of national security. Be assured that your voice counts, so don't hesitate to contact either telephone, mail, email, whatever way you can to contact your elected representatives. Be socially active, serve on boards, serve on church committees, serve on political parties. MOA, as I mentioned before, the Military Officers Association, never stop serving, but you also belong to the Rotary clubs, church groups. Be active. It's good for you, it's good for the country, and it's good for you. And last but not least, I just say, be virtuous and follow the age-old Judeo-Christian concept of treat others as you would want to be treated by yourself. Good day. Thank you.